Welcome to another episode on our channel. Today we're going to be talking about Bill Paxton, who played Morgan Earp in Tombstone. And we'll talk about the figure in a bit. But as promised, I just don't want to show you the figure. I want to talk a little bit about the person or the movie. I have a number of figures from Tombstone, not maybe everybody I want. I would love to have Dana Delaney from her role in the movie, but of course I don't think I can ever find a head sculpt that resembles her. But I do have Morgan Earp. I have Virgil Earp. So Bill Paxton, Sam Elliott. I have Wyatt Earp, Kurt Russell. You saw more recently Val Kilmer, who portrayed Doc Holliday. I have Michael Biehn, who portrays Johnny Ringo in the movie. So I'll be talking about the people who portrayed these characters, like I did with Val Kilmer. And I think I'll save the information about Tombstone for Kurt Russell, because I have another Kurt Russell figure I have customized from another movie that I then think I can talk about Kurt Russell. So, yeah. So I'll save the best for last, more about Tombstone with Kurt Russell, and then follow up with Kurt Russell himself when I show you this other customized figure of Kurt Russell. But this is, of course, Bill Paxton from Tombstone, who portrayed Morgan Earp. So he had a rough life growing up medically. In the 7th grade, I should back up. In the 7th grade, he had rheumatic fever. He was in the hospital for a month. He was bedridden for 4 months, and he had to take penicillin all up until the age of 18 to get beyond that process. He worked as a parking lot valet before he broke into the movies. And when he broke into the movies, he really landed into some good movies. Terminator, Alien, Predator. With Michael Biehn, who portrayed Johnny Ringo in Tombstone, he actually was in 4 movies. Lords of Discipline, let me just make sure I said that right. Yes, Lords of Discipline, Terminator, Alien, Navy SEALs, and Tombstone. So those are the 5 movies that they were in together. He was also in a movie called Frailty, and some people didn't know what the name Otis meant on the handle of the axe. But apparently, when he was kind of looking around for spots for filming, I guess he was kind of involved in that process. He ran across a homeless man and wanted to give him some money, but the man would not take the money. He didn't want charity. And Bill Paxton said, let me use your name in my next movie. I'll pay you for that. And then the guy took the money. And he happened to have the name of Otis, which was on the handle of this particular axe. So he kept his promise. The man took the money. He wasn't offended, wasn't taking any charity at that moment in time. And he was wise enough to use that route to not hurt his feelings of pride. So that was cool. So that name actually meant something personally to Bill Paxton. He went through 2 marriages. One marriage lasted for 1 year. The second marriage lasted his entire life. They had 2 children, a son and a daughter. He was diagnosed with an aortic aneurysm. I have a brain aneurysm. He had an aortic aneurysm and went in for surgery for a heart valve replacement, and something went wrong. and he experienced a stroke and died in 2017 at the age of 61. He was able to complete, before this all happened, the 13 episodes for Training Day. Apparently, I've never seen that series, but he was able to complete that. The last movie that he was in was called The Circle, which is kind of interesting. I never heard of The Circle, but Tom Hanks was in it, Emma Watson was in it, and she apparently was a customer service person initially with the show. But as they became, I guess, more transparent in this company and earned trust and that sort of thing, their ranking rose and they became more important to the company. But this was like a social media company like Facebook. True You, I think, is one of the names that was referenced in terms of The Circle. Tom Hanks was in charge. He was the CEO of the company. And it was all about transparency. And later in the movie, though, Emma Watson finds out that some information is being misused. Eventually, the company says the only way they had scored some sort of, I don't know, contract, or I don't know how it worked, but voting, I'm assuming voting for the presidency could only be done through this circle. And they also claimed they could find anyone within 20 minutes. And they were able to find a child molester in one of their episodes that they were filming for the circle, and there was just an eruption of applause when that happened. And they, I guess maybe, I haven't seen the movie, so I don't know all the ins and outs of it, but somehow asked Emma who could they find next, and then they suggested, let's look for Mercer, her ex-boyfriend. And she was not really for it, but reluctantly agreed, from what I understand. And so they were able to find him. He was part of the company before, and he didn't want to have anything to do with this process. He liked his privacy. He didn't want to have anything to do with it, but somehow they found him. They put a camera on his car. He's trying to get away from them and loses control of his car or commits suicide. I'm not sure which version is correct, but he ends up dying. She feels bad. She leaves the company, goes to Scotland, and eventually comes back to the company. But the original reason for being in the company was because her father, Bill Paxton, had MS, and it was quite an expense to take care of her parents, and that's the reason why she needed this kind of job. And so this was officially his last movie that he was in, that came out in 2017, the same year that he had died. So I don't know if you've ever seen Tombstone. Oh my gosh. To me, it's the best Western ever. Now, I know that everybody has their favorites, but for me, Tombstone is definitely a favorite. I can watch that movie again and again and again. And I loved all the characters in that movie, to include Bill Paxton. This was a custom head sculpt that I was able to find on eBay. I've only seen it once. I don't know who made it. My records don't go back far enough where I can even tell you who made it, who painted it, or anything. But it looks so real to me. I went, let me get this, because I really wanted a complete set of Tombstone. So I got it, and it's one of my favorite head sculpts so far. So we'll pause and get some shots from here on up. We'll be right back. So you've already seen Val Kilmer as Doc Holliday with present toys and Redmond toys that was heavily customized. These figures of the Earp brothers, with the exception of Wyatt Earp, are customized figures. But I use the same stand for the Redmond figure for Wyatt Earp or Val Kilmer, I use the same stand, just replace the name with the appropriate name. So here's Morgan Earp with black boots. With the Earp brothers, I use the same outfit basically, with some minor differences, but the pants are the same on all the Earp brothers. The long jacket is the same on all of the Earp brothers. In this situation, though, Morgan Earp has a brown holster rig. The gun, I'm sure, is not accurate to the movie. It does have a white handle on it. I don't think that's correct in this case, but it looks really great on him, so I made it that way. He also doesn't have a vest on, but he has a high collar shirt. I thought he looked really great that way. And a black hat. Now, I know he should have a lighter colored hat, but I couldn't do it. I just had to keep them all with black hats. The head sculpt was a custom I found one day on eBay. I've never seen it a second time, ever. I don't know who made it. My records don't go back far enough where I can find who sold it to me. I imagine the person who had it for sale either bought it from somebody who customized it for them, or they did it themselves and somehow didn't get other head sculpts of Bill Paxton out there as Morgan Earp. But I was very happy to get this particular head sculpt. If you are looking for a head sculpt for Morgan Earp, Snyderman 31 on eBay does create this particular head sculpt. It doesn't look the same, quite the same as this one, but it's pretty darn good. So if you're looking to create a Tombstone set, that's a source you can readily take advantage of. And I think you won't be disappointed on any level. So here he is. We'll pause now and do side-to-side shots from his hands on up. So here he is, and we'll just go side to side and then get some close-ups of his head sculpt. Same long coat or jacket, but a brown holster rig. Same pants, but a high-collared shirt, no vest for him. All right. So we'll pause now and get some tighter shots of his head sculpt. It's a pretty darn good head sculpt. So the hat isn't right, and I did put this little wraparound around the hat here at the bottom. Sorry about that. But I couldn't resist. It looks pretty good. So we'll just go side to side. The only thing that perhaps I don't like, at least under the glare of lights, is it actually shows up as being somewhat glossy. In real life, it really isn't glossy at all in the appropriate light. Real light, I should say. It's pretty darn good, actually. But I've never, after I purchased this particular head sculpt, I don't know if somebody had sold it previous to this one, but I've never, ever seen this one again. So maybe this is the only one that was made. I have no idea. I just have never seen it again. So it's pretty darn good, though, I have to say. There you go. So we are back, and I actually did guess right at the gun, although it's more white than ivory colored. As you can see here, it probably shows up closer to white than ivory colored, but as I look at it closely, it's more ivory colored than white. So it looks white on the photograph that I see right now of Morgan Earp, portrayed by Bill Paxton. But the hat is lighter, so that's not perfect. I struggle so much with these things, you know. Do I go with movie accuracy, which if you're a purist, that's kind of what you want to do, or do I go with something that looks good to me? And I think I will always kind of favor what looks good to me. It just so happens that I lucked out here with the, I knew I was going for the brown holster rig, but I didn't realize I actually got the gun pretty good too. So anyway, so here is Bill Paxton as Morgan Earp, and we brought back Val Kilmer as Doc Holliday. This is my favorite of the two. The more of the Redmond version with the red vest and gray tie, and I customized and put on a black holster hip rig with a white gun handle as well, along with what came with him, which is the shoulder holster rig. And I think they look great together. It'll be neat when you see all 5 characters out. You know, Kurt Russell, Sam Elliott, Bill Paxton, Val Kilmer, and Michael Biehn. I think you'll be. I hope you like what you see. I hope you like what you see right now. If you have, please consider giving us a thumbs up and subscribing to our channel. In the meantime, everyone, please have a great day.